Freedom 35, 5, 5, 5.
Dude, start the podcast.
Wow.
Welcome, everybody. Freedom 35ers, Cardano NFT podcast. My name is Tommy. I go by TLWY.
And I am the other Tom. I go by Lavish Bear.
And tonight, we are not.
We lie, baby.
That's wrong, TJ. We're not here. Where the fuck is TJ?
No. Yeah, where's TJ?
TJ, dude, I feel like you guys a few episodes ago. Where's Tommy? I don't know where he is. Now I get to roast you guys, I get to roast TJ when he's not here. So I had no way to defend myself when I'm out.
That's the great thing about being on the show, and the other person, when the third's missing, you can say whatever we want. They can't do anything about it.
Hey, fuck you, TJ. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Nothing, dude. Oh, he's gonna hate me.
He's gonna be very upset. he's gonna say something in the Discord for sure. Just like, I was sick, guys. All right, it was legit reason.
Wait till you're here next.
It wasn't Valentine's Day problems or anything like that. I was actually sick for real. All right,
that's
TJ.
The real question here. We're sitting here like 20 minutes before recording time. Hey guys, we're gonna be on. I'm like, yeah, we'll be on like a half hour. TJ all of a sudden, hey guys, I've been real sick all week. Not gonna be able to make it tonight. I'm gonna sit this one out. It's like, really? That's what you're gonna do tonight? Are you sure about that? Are you sure you guys didn't have a really good Valentine's Day and maybe you guys want to hang out tonight?
I think he ate a full box of Russell Stover's chocolate and he's got a little tummy ache right now. I think that's probably the problem. You get a hold of those. Some of them got the caramel on them. Some of them got the toothpaste flavor. I don't know. They got like the random. Yeah. But I think that'd be my guess. TJ ate too much chocolate tonight.
TJ, it's either too much chocolate.
Hershey Kisses.
He's got some kind of kisses going on tonight. Maybe, hopefully.
Hey, that'd be fine then. Hey, that's acceptable excuse. We can allow that. We'll allow that.
In that case, TJ, do your thing, man. No, dude. What's up, everybody? We didn't get to say it because TJ hates when we say the episode titles. We're on episode 106 in Park. Said this week. That would have been my joke if we would have kept that running.
That would have been perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we're up on episode 106, technically 107. But
is it just me or has the numbers been going slow since we hit like 100? I feel like we've done 33 episodes and we're only on number 6 past 100. It's kind of me out. The
live streams just seem to get to a halt too. It's just like, man, we've been doing these. We'll never get to 100 on the live stream, although we're 10 episodes away from that over there. But yeah, dude, we're over here like 106 right now. Although, I remember originally when we did the first 52 or whatever it was for the first year, we were like, man, I can't imagine what it's gonna be like when we hit 100. And now we hit over 106 over here. I'm like, God damn, man. I just feel like the gray bush.
Yeah, keep it going.
The good old gray bush. I know I caught you off guard on Monday's live stream with that comment too.
That's a wonderful reference for sure. I was not expecting it at all. And it should have been obvious, but when it did come in, it was like, damn. I think you went undefeated on Monday night, didn't you, for the live stream for the tournament?
No, I got tickled to death, dude.
2-1.
I got 1-1. We only got to do 2 of them.
Okay.
Because JK Artico came in and snuck in and they tickled me to death. It was OMEN fans versus murder.
that might have been my favorite moment was when he jumped in because we were trying to coordinate it with our guests that we had on the live stream, and every time you would open a lobby to do that, it was like too slow. Someone else jumped in.
Yep, and it was like,
even JK jumped in and was just like, he was like, yeah, suck it.
Yeah, you got tickled to death over here. And I remember I was towards the end of that, and it was part of the AI generation. Yeah, I was right here, and it just said ha ha ha, and I was like, dude, come on, right now. But it was such a dumb death, and I know like Hoarder was like, yeah, we're working on more like a non PG-13 version of this stuff over here. But it was even funnier because Viva was trying to sign in and it said OMEN fans content creator join the match. So shout out to JK Artico over here. That was fucking hilarious. Also shout out to our guests too, man. Shout out to Hoarder and Jay Cardano for jumping on and organizing all this. I know it didn't go exactly according to plan as we wanted it to. We had some technical difficulties, but at the end of the day, we did get a chance to do an 8-player tournament as well as some 1v1. So shout out to them for organizing, and also shout out to some surprise guests that was organized by Hoarder, Viva, and CardanoThor jumping on for about an hour and a half. And Viva actually stayed with us the whole time. So
Oh yeah, no, that was a very big surprise. I know they were trying to get a few people on, so definitely thankful that they were able to join us, especially because we did have a few of those technical issues. That's just kind of the nature of doing things live, but it was definitely gave us that kind of backup that we were able to kind of to talk with them and chat with them and catch up, especially with Thor and Viva, because it has been, especially Thor, it's been a long time since we got to talk to really Thor on the show, and it was a pleasure to have them back on. We got to, I guess, coordinate something here to get them, on their own show again, hopefully in different circumstances. But it was great for them to join for this. And also just cool to see the support that this project did have, for them to show up like that.
And big shout out to Hoarder too, because I know like he wasn't a Zombie Chains founder at all. They picked this project up from the artist who was like, hey, I put my art out there. I didn't ever want this to be anything more than an art project. And you guys bought my stuff. So he picked it up, and they got the Weird Oz collection, Hoarder does, and then he's picked up a few other collections like the Collectors Club and other things, and he's working to integrate all these different things into this platform along with their token that they're doing. So he's trying to create something from stuff that may have gone off and died inside the community, and he's done. I mean, as far as the tech goes, that's a big shout out to the Raggies team as well, because if you guys hadn't got a chance to check out that stream. We previewed some of their stuff that they've done in the past, the Raggies team with Space Otters, which RIP to them as well. But in that meantime, they had built that whole marketplace that you were able to interact with a smart contract to go ahead and actually purchase NFTs with that Otter, that token that they had. Now here you are, where they've been able to do a decentralized tournament, essentially, where you enter in here, AI does some of the, the metrics as far as like with the results of the battles. But once you sign that transaction, you put in your Fuse or ADA or whatever it is, it automatically does the transactions through smart contracts, distributes the prizes automatically back to you without you ever having to do anything. And I think that's really, that's a good start. And I think the potential, which we talked about on stream, is huge for that, especially if you bring in partner projects and things like that, where you could have like certain game nights and wagers and March Madness, World Cup, like where you could really have a decentralized tournament. I think this is just kind of the start. It's really cool that they're kind of pioneering some of that tech. I think that's my biggest takeaway. Is like I'm maybe not the biggest Zombie Chains fan, essentially, but I'm a fan of what they're doing as far as like how that infrastructure is being built.
I was gonna say I think he even gave the example, of having to be there for a lot of giveaways or tournaments and things like that to receive your prizes. Where in this case, this is something that's automated. It's just which everyone's always looking for. We're looking to be more efficient. We're looking for more automation when it comes to things like that. We only got so many hours in the day. You can only allocate so much time to certain tasks. So when you can get some of that time back, even if it's a few minutes, it's a pretty big deal. Especially when I know we were talking to Thor about that. Tommy, you explained sometimes just the not that it's a lot of work to give someone an NFT for a giveaway, but when you're juggling so many things, when you come off of a 2-hour live stream and then you got 3 or 4 people opening tickets and you're like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I just had a couple drinks. We just had a 2-hour live stream. I'm beat. I just had a full day of work. I just worked 10 hours. I'll do this tomorrow afternoon. I got a little bit more time. And then the next day comes and, maybe it does slip your mind because you didn't write it down or something. So just having some of those automations in place could be huge. And of course, there's still plenty of learning pains, even like I think the big thing was we were joining some tournaments and we couldn't leave the tournament before it started. So those kind of things you're only going to kind of realize as you start to use the platform and have these tournaments to understand, hey, what do we need to be in place here? But otherwise, like besides some of those tweaks when it comes to like the AI, I know he wants it to be a little bit more R-rated, mature. It was otherwise, like they got the basic foundation functioning and working when it comes to the buy-in system, battles, and then paying out.
What was the interesting part about that too that I didn't see that I think was kind of overlooked a little bit was the fact that portal system that they had where you were able to log into that portal and actually purchase via that marketplace. I didn't realize how nice that was.
Which connects straight to JPG too. It's not like they have their own. They don't have their own third-party website with its own marketplace. Like we've seen some other projects will just come out with their own standalone market for only their project. But this actually connects through the API to JPG to pull that information. But especially when it came to like trying to get in that last minute tournament. I'm getting psyched out here because I'm seeing 2 Year Mice, and I'm like, Tommy, how are you doing this? But no, especially when you were trying to jump in those other tournaments and you needed to quickly kind of find the asset that you needed. Not to say that in a normal circumstance it would have as much of a time crunch, but just to be the ease of it, the speed at which you can find it without dedicating a lot of your own personal time to be able to join or play in a tournament. Worked very well. It was very impressive as far as that went. And then especially when it came to then also applying those, what they call them? Not cards?
Fight cards. Fight cards.
Yeah, the fight cards. Okay, yeah. So especially when it came to applying those and getting the actual stats, it was all, that part was flawless. That all they have down. They got that to make sure to work right. Now the rest of it, I think, just comes from getting more tournaments going and seeing where there's some potential bugs or just extra features they need to add in to make quality of life changes is really what it is. The actual foundation that works.
100%. Yeah, like you see me on screen right now, like filtering out by weight classes, which again, I selected the wrong weight class. Shout out to Tommy having a beer for the night. But you could literally see like on there that there was JPEG listings, and I actually went and bought a zombie from this and I didn't go to JPEG store. I was on their website. It caught the API. I was able to sign a transaction to do it through there, and I didn't have to leave the site, which there's a lot of big projects out there that don't even offer a feature like this where you don't even know about. A lot of people are like, I don't even know you could do this. And he's like, yeah, we're trying to tell people. So I think that's very underrated for, and the fact that they've got that, and that's a big testament to the Raggies team too, for the stuff that they do. Like, yeah, buying right through the website right now. So yeah, I love the start of it. And like I said, there's obviously lots of kinks to work out, and I'm sure they'll get that stuff settled. But in the future, decentralized tournaments, right? We were talking about it where, hey, you guys want to do March Madness? They were like, we don't think we're going to get it ready in time, but March Madness is coming up here. Do you imagine entering in a tournament that's decentralized in a sense of, all right, all the winners are going to be entered in. Here's your buy-in right here. And at the end of it, assuming that it can keep track of the games and where the winners are, it can automatically pay you out your prize without you having to worry about anything, without you having to chase down your friends your money. Yeah, like, hey, bro, you didn't pay in time. You didn't Venmo me. I need that money. Oh, bro, I'll get you next week or whatever. That shit automatically done.
I was gonna say that's something we have challenges with in our own fantasy leagues and stuff like that. Even where it's like, you think like we're like, hey, we're all adults here. We should have $50 or $100, whatever it may be, for the fantasy league. And sure enough, fantasy, like, the end of the season comes around and it's still just like, hey man, do you have that $50? Oh no, it's gonna be another couple weeks. All right, well, this is Christmas. Like, why do we even do this? You know what I mean? It's like, in this case, it's like, no, everything's paid up front. All the money's held there in a wallet that they don't have direct access or control to. So you're not going to have anyone that, from what he said, run away or steal the wallet and take off with it. All the money there, and it also works not only with ADA, but also with the DeFi side too. Of course, they have both functionalities. They've looked ahead to see that, where they're not just focusing on one thing. And of course, like you said too, looking into hopefully then bringing in some other projects and maybe even involving some other tokens and things like that for prizes. You can really expand this a lot depending on where they want to take it. The hard part I can see is getting the stats in, the weight classes and the stats when you bring in the other projects. But I think that they understand that and are prepared for those challenges, so they're ready to go. I just think it's got to pick up some traction here.
Yeah, and hopefully enough people get some eyes on it, and I would love to see the function built out a little more for the user experience with it. It's great. Actually, the 1v1s are your best method, I think, because you get a little like storyboard, you get the AI working for it. It feels a little more personal as far as the wagers go. And then as those bigger tournaments go, I'm sure the more interactability you get with this, the better it will do. And then obviously putting different, what one community versus another community, if you can work that in, he said that obviously like weight classes and figure that stuff out, there's a lot of potential for it. So we'll see. A big shout out to Hoarder, everybody over there. Shout out to Thor and Viva for joining us on Monday, man. It's always good to catch up with those guys. But hey, we're over here recording on this Wednesday, and this Wednesday just happens to be Valentine's Day. And with it being Valentine's Day, there had to be some posts today over in the CNFT world. One that is near and dear to our heart over here is Yummi Universe. And Yummi Universe had to go ahead and drop. I mean, it's an amazing card reveal over here. The first one for them, too, from the Series 1 card airdrops. So if you were new or new to the Yummyverse or never really paid attention too much, what the fuck you doing? First off, we've been talking about them forever since about 2.5 years now.
Day one, yeah, since day one, 100%.
At least, but if you haven't been tuning in, they had their Series 1 cards that dropped before even the 10K collection. So these were actually if you've been holding for that long, you don't got to do anything other than just keep waiting. You're about to get an airdrop here for this card that's going to be playable in game, but not only is it going to be playable in game, it's got the new updated artwork. And we've seen the original Naru card, what we talked about with the Mystic one done by the Pokemon artist last week, on how we were like, hey, Naru's a water type over here. And they said, well, you know what? We're going to put some fusion cards together for our airdrops. So not only is it going to be a water type, it's going to be a psychic type too. And this is the only combo that's going to be able to do this because it's part of that airdrop. So they teased it. Yeah. Yep. And so I think this is the love over here. I forget, not that you have the hate and the love over there, the different Yummies. I forget the
Love Struck eyes are, from the original, especially because I have that on one of my NFTs. Yeah. And the Love Struck, if you guys are not familiar with this, I'm gonna have to pull it up because now that it's the one tab I didn't have open. But yeah, you got the Yummy Universe Series 1 collection over here. So they've got the boxed and unboxed ones. Then they've actually got the actual cards, which again are all going to be able to be played in game. I don't know that the cards have gone down much in price, which is kind of crazy to think about. So you see these original cards right here. The Love Struck though, for whatever, 549 floor still for these at the moment. So if you own one of these right here, you will be getting airdropped this. It's probably quite an upgrade, to be honest with you. I love the new art. And then, not only is it playable in game, that's the only way to access a Naru in game.
Naru.
Right? Yeah. So
there's only a select number of these. So there's only 200 of each of these different 7 original cards. So there's only 200 of these type of cards in the whole collection, like ever. So you think about it in the sense that they're minting 10,000 card packs coming up, and in those card packs there's 4 cards. So there's 40,000 cards that are going to be dropped within this first founders pack, and then they're going to do more and more. In the retrospect, 200 is such a tiny number per one of these, and who knows where these goes from here. But
especially considering that the essentially like the face kind of their project so far, at least it's almost like they're, I guess, they probably don't like this, but it's like their Pikachu, you know what I mean? It's their the face of the project. So to have it so restricted or so limited, I actually like, because it kind of doesn't cheapen the Naru. It makes it so it's that much more special. You know what I mean? It means that much more when, like, say, like you went out, once you heard that, Tom, you're like, I'm getting these. Like, that's the only way you can have it for the card.
I
game.
did the complete set.
Absolutely have to buy one, because it's such a, if you've been following this project, if you've been a fan, it is the thing. And this card, I mean, it's one of those weird things. Being adult males, it's not something we say, I think, often in our lives. It's like, oh, that's so cute, but damn, they nail this with the Narus. I think they do a great job. Like they get it every time. And this one's so cool with like the wagging tail, the holographics like element to it. It's very neat.
And it's a dual type for the game too. So even the cooler part, even if you don't care about the art, you don't care about it being a collector's card, if you are a fan of the game and want to play, you've now got an advantage by owning one of these things, in a sense that you've got a double type over here. On these fusion types.
Psychic makes sense for like a love Valentine's Day.
Like the Jigglypuff, I kind of like that. It reminds me of that. Yeah, a little vibe for that. But yeah, so that'd be interesting.
Relationship, love stuff can be kind of, mess with your head. It can play with your brain a little bit.
Yeah,
you get a little gaslit. You get a little, love struck essentially, and you start feeling like you're hypnotized. You're making decisions. You're like,
over there.
What the fuck was I doing? Was I hypnotized for the past 6 months? Why the fuck was I doing any of that? But that's what it's like.
And I love Yummi is, again, one of those ones where we're like, a lot of people are like, Yummy's blue chip, but they did. It's like, man, you guys don't understand. There's a bigger play here. And whether that's financially or not, like, it's all up to you. But at the end of the day, it's like, we were always big fans of Pokemon, and I think we want to see like what's Web3 like Pokemon to us. And this is what they're trying to do. And they've got a really good marketable brand that is separated away from that, which I love that they've got Naru as separate away. As a they've licensed Naru brand for Yummi. They're 2 separate things, and I love that about them.
They're doing it smart. And honestly, like there was a period where I was thinking, you know, are people that interested in alternate Pokemon? You know, Pokemon does a great job. They're biggest company, you know, biggest franchise in the world. Is there any room there to really compete? But recently we've seen Pal World explode, just take off, top of the charts. Most consecutive players, almost, most purchases. I think they finally passed PUBG. I got 140 hours in it already on my one account. So it's like tons of Pal World. So that's what I'm saying, though. So there's clearly people that are interested in more of this type of content, and not only just from the original Pokemon or the original franchises. And then especially, like you said, it's something that I think I even got into a period where, you don't see them always loud and talking on Twitter. You definitely don't always see them on JPG. They're not in the top 24 or top 7 days because they've been developing so long now. But the way that they've kind of focused on being not necessarily obviously their home is kind of Cardano, but the way that they've kind of created this brand that can go so much further and beyond Cardano, where they're not going to be restricted to just the crypto blockchain side, I think is really important. Because 100%. Like we've talked about so much is their marketability, but they continue to build on that and take advantage of it. And I think that's what gives them the most potential moving forward, to be honest. Yeah.
The fact that they are networking too at those big events like Comic-Cons and things like that, where Pokemon itself is. And I'm sure like Pokemon's not one of those ones. I know they're very strict about how their content's being used and replicated and things like that. But they're also, there's a degree to that of like, hey, we inspired so many other things to have success because of our success. You don't want to shut down everybody. You want to say, hey guys, we inspired you guys. And talking to David originally, knowing Shannon and what they built from that start, they've always had that dream. Nothing's ever changed from that. And now to get them to see where they're one step closer to that is really cool. So,
well, and I was having this discussion with someone. I had to actually look it up here. One sec. How many Pokemon are there now? There are. Come on now. You son of a bitch. But I was more so just talking about there's 1,000 now monsters. And I know we've talked about really early on in one of the shows is that there's one of them's a set of fucking keys. Like they've pretty much ran out of ideas over there. So even with the Pal World conversation and stuff, where people say like, oh well, and I understand Pal World took a lot of inspiration, and there's some that are pretty close, and this is just Pal World. I think Yummi has done a lot better job of creating their own style, their own voice when it comes to that. But just in that case, even just for the sake of argument, when Pokemon's been around since 1994, 1995, and have 1,000 monsters to where they're even making some after a set of spare keys, it's almost impossible to not kind of have some overlap because they've literally just been like they've gone and done everything, so to say like when then at that point they can be like, oh, well, everyone's copied us because we literally made every version of everything. So we made sure everyone has to copy us if they ever want to have any sort of idea in regards to a monster fighting, which, Pokemon wasn't the first one to come up with a card game, a fighting card game, a card game involving monsters. So I think it's really just more kind of like that cartoon aspect. But I think Naru, over the years especially, has developed their very own style when it comes to it. And I think it's sometimes unfair. It's just the first thing that does come to mind is Pokemon, but I think at this point they are very much their own thing.
100%. And then on top of that too, the merch and all that things that they physically stuff, they've sold so much. I don't know if you saw Masa posted it the other day, but the merch shop was back online, and I was able to grab another plushie over there as well. They have a pink plushie now too.
Did they sell out already? Because I forgot the other day I saw that. I'm opening the website now. I really want.
I haven't looked recently, although I did when I did buy it. I definitely went ahead and crushed it. Naru shop was open.
There it is. They're still good. Okay, we still got some. Nice. All right, cool. I think I'm gonna snag one of these.
There you go. If you guys are wondering what those look like, there you go. Winter sale going on right now. They got the pink and blue plushies, which I need to add on to the back of my little background. Yeah, there you go.
It's like 80 degrees here this week.
Look at that. You can get a bundle of these things for 38. The fact that they usually sell out of these things pretty quick.
Oh,
too.
I'm in British pounds. Okay, I was like, damn, what? Yours a little more expensive than mine. Why is that? Yeah. Oh, I'm in that
There's a
Hello,
couple
mate. Money.
sold out. Oh, I need to get me a stabby pin. I just can't. I gotta. The shipping's a little higher because they're over in the UK. I should have added this when I didn't know it. Yeah, look at this. They got the little Valentine post, which again, if you haven't followed them over on Instagram, definitely go ahead and give them a follow. They're very active still over there too. And I love that they have the, they update the artwork for the little Naru. Like the branding on that is so good. So we'll see. Not for everybody, but yeah, I think it's they've got an audience.
And well, one thing, I mean, I'm kind of a fan of like plushes. I have some, you can't see them because my background behind me for anime and things like that. But one thing I also like about their shop they've taken into account is it's cash money. It's not they're like, we can't deal with the conversions and crypto rates and things like that, to run our store, be profitable. We need it to be actual cash. But I think it's built through like Shopify. It says right at the bottom, so you can just check out with Shop Pay, things like that. So I'm one of those people that I don't like to purchase a lot of Cardano myself. I like to kind of build off of what I've bought in the past so that I'm always kind of playing with profits. I've done that since kind of the beginning. It's very rare that I put in larger purchases. It just sometimes when there's some drops and things like that, it just makes sense. Damn, that buyer one is woke up, chose violence.
Sold
really
out.
Good.
I know.
I see that. I really want that one. But I just like that. I don't like always spending my ADA on merch if I don't have to. I would rather preferably spend my money and then not have to buy more ADA later on when I want to mint something or move something around. So I kind of like keeping those things separate. And I do like that they keep their store a little separate like that too.
100%.
It just makes things a little simpler.
Yeah. They do the merch very well. And most of the time when they're in these different events, they sell out super quick. So
I get the bundle. I just go for the bundle.
If you haven't had the original, I would recommend the bundle. I went ahead and I've got two of the blues ready. I grabbed the pink too. I have
nice. Cool. Yeah.
But yeah. So shout out to, we went on hard on the Yummi. I didn't expect us to talk about these as long as we did, but yeah, big shout out to them, man.
It happens every time.
Every single time. Speaking of Valentine's Day, because we're still on that subject right now, shout out to Clay Nation, and also shout out to OMEN. This kind of surprised me. They said a Valentine's Day surprise, but I mean, when Clay Nation, we talked about them, right? Like they don't do too many collaborations and when they do, it's like, it's bigger news inside the space.
Like
obviously, we all know. Yeah, we know the Snoop Dogg stuff, right? And Charles Hoskinson. But they obviously announced the stuff recently with Toolheads, and we're like, damn, that's a really awesome, like a little collaboration here. So, and we've been talking about, we've showcased gameplay of the Clay Falls, of their NFT stuff. They have a really cool new update for if you guys are over on the Matic blockchain for their Polygon stuff over in Sandbox. But today, as far as building out the kits, we talked about pants. Today now they're really opening up their kind of like DLC shop, it feels like, for your Clay avatars. And today they said your feet will bring you where your heart is. That's why we got some new wearables to keep your Clay feet cozy. Don't miss the Valentine surprise in collaboration with OMEN. And went ahead and dropped, okay, you've got some new shoes over there. Great. You can kit out you can buy it in Clay token, get some cool little fun things. But then this one is the first partner trait that I've seen outside of their collection, which, I mean, we love the heart trait from OMEN. But man, like seeing it in the little 3D motion, it was kind of big for like being an OMEN holder. You're like, damn, okay.
Huge for OMEN. Awesome for OMEN. It also just shows their place in the space, I think, with Pneumonium and kind of the respect that project does deserve and what they've done, how much they've accomplished quickly in the new year here and getting people on board and actually holding and really being excited about it. But I was going to say, I know you and TJ love the heart skull, so you guys must be very excited because we also obviously all love Clay.
Yeah, I definitely. So
I didn't see the 3D like this. This is awesome.
Yeah, they got it built over in their software, so you can get these over on Clay. So I don't know if this is a limited time sale just for today or not. So I was like, you know what, I need to load this up. If you guys have never been over on clayspace.io, it's pretty easy to use. But they have this Valentine's Day sale going on right now. So obviously you can buy the duck feet, the little frog. I like the frog feet. The frog feet, I'm not gonna lie, that was interesting. So you can buy a lot of these for 2,500 Clay token at the moment. If you've never used their shop, they've got this fun little thing that looks like an iPad. But you can add this. So I've got some thing. I figured why not do a live buy, of this right over here. So I've got the OMEN thing. You can add it to cart right here. I think I'm gonna add 2 of these because the Degen enemies, like, you buy one and you flip one, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
One
when
for me,
you're
one
done,
for them.
yep, you buy one, you click the little tablet right here. We're gonna do a live buy, which also shout out to them for the clay pay. I think this is so cool because they've got like the little fingerprints and it's still in their clay theme and stuff. And you could go ahead and say, you know what, I'm done, and I'm gonna buy with 5,000 clay, or you can even pay it with A.
That's great. That's really cool.
Yep, a fixed exchange rate right now. I could buy it with the clay token and submit it. It'll build a transaction right inside of here. There you go. We're gonna do a live buy. Easy as that. And I like that they're testing that kind of tech right now, man. It's really good. And I think, man, I don't know if I'm overpaying for stuff. I mean, when I think about DLC, if you want to say what 2,500 clay is right now, I want to say, what's the flip side on this right here? 2,500 clay at the moment is 28 ADA, which is $16. In a sense, the high DLC price, because most stuff in now is about $10 to buy DLC over in different games, pretty much.
No, well, they all play those games though. They all play those games because it'll be like, all right, so to buy an upgrade in Fortnite, as examples, $10, but then when you need to buy their coins, you can only buy them in packs of 8 or something like that. So then, you know what I mean? Now you got to buy 2 packs
$20 instead of like,
yeah, just to get exactly. Now you got to buy 16 coins just so you can spend the 10, but now you have 6 left over, and then next time you buy 6 still isn't enough to buy anything, so you got to buy it a second time. So they always play games, which is why I do like that they also have the option to purchase it straight in ADA. I do like that they had both options. I know I just got done saying with the merch for the physical merch on the Yummi side, I prefer to pay money, but for something like this where it's purely in game, it's within their ecosystem, and you're not just spending ADA, you have the option to spend their native token, which obviously makes sense. That's one of the reasons they developed it. I do love that. I think they did a great job building that. Are you buying the frog shoes? I love the frog shoes so much.
Yeah. I was like, I usually like this a lot.
I like the frog shoes. The genie, no, they don't call them the wizard shoes, which I see them more as genie shoes. I don't know, those ones stand out a lot. I don't like the eyeballs on them, but I love the frog ones.
Yeah, frog looks so good. The duck feet are cool.
The duck feet are pretty good too. They look a little chicken feet to me though.
They do look like chicken feet, 100%. Just because of the claws, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I don't know where this is gonna go, but we definitely, if you haven't checked out our little quick little overview of Clay Falls, definitely hard to play right now as far as like beating it as far as the platform. If you're a casual gamer, you're probably gonna have a tough time, but it's a fun little challenge. And if not, it's a cool, I'm looking forward to their space opening up a little bit more. And it's also just really wanted to highlight, I love the fact that they're working with other projects inside the space, like the fact that they've got Ammonium, like that, like everything they have is very fun, right? Like the eyes, it's very themed. And then this is like super detailed with the way that looks, right? Like that's not just like a quick little like, hey, we're gonna put a little heart. Like that legit is like the anatomy of a heart built with an ammonium skull and got the veins and everything. Like whoever built their 3D assets for this did a great job of modeling that.
Well, not only that too. Not only is it just like a hat or an upgrade on your 2D model, the fact that they had it ready to go, already built and generated in 3D was very important. You know, it's cool. I like that they think things out. It's not like that someone just has a quick idea and just kind of low effort shit posts it. They put the full effort in every time, even if it was maybe a quick idea and they go, you know, hey, it's Valentine's Day, why don't we, you know, we know Pneumonium or OMEN or whatever their relationship was to get that going, why don't we just quickly do one for a heart, because they have that cool heart trait and I love it. But they went all the way through and made sure it was done correctly. Quality. So you can play with it in the game. Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
100%. And then here's my answer to
I love that they use that base clay too for it too with the
Argy. Yep. Yeah. So they said somebody asked how long the sale is gonna last for this. So you're listening to this on a Wednesday. We're recording this on a Wednesday. You're listening to it on a Friday. They said it's gonna last for a few days. So you probably have another day or two to go ahead and grab this, which is part of the reason why I grabbed 2 of these, because you never know how long these sales open up for, and once they're done, they're done. So I like
they could be done at the time you're listening to this. So hit up Tom if you're trying to buy it. You know, just 250 ADA.
At least 28 ADA minimum.
2,000 ADA.
2,000 ADA minimum. That's dope,
we got
man.
a profit here. Come on.
Shout out to OMEN over here for it. I mean, yeah, there it is. There's the trait. There, if you guys are not knowing what the original trait looks like, that's what it looks like right here. In 3D
I
mode,
love
it
how they
looks
kept the
dope.
bandage in too. Like they kept the
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, for
they got
sure.
the bandage and everything. It's great.
It's Tencent. Do they have the little green vein too, or the yellow,
The
blue vein?
Yeah. The blue there at the top.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to them, man. Yeah, I got them over my wallet now. We'll go see how that works out. Just received it right there. Shout out to Pokey. Outside of that, we wanted to go ahead and kind of the meat and potatoes of this stream, which although the meat and potatoes, we've been kind of just diving into it. I didn't think, we were like, hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a quick little 20-minute, 30-minute one. Here we are. We're going to fill out a full hour of this shit. But an interesting thing, Goofy Gophers, a lot of people's criticism of them from the start, great, mining NFTs. Okay, sounds good in theory. When am I getting paid? Well, here we are about 11 months since the official sellout of the full Goofy Gophers collection. First distribution has officially gone live today to holders. They paid people out, and probably mixed feelings from people because people that are pissed may have not done their research. The people that have are probably like, there's a lot to come. And the interesting part about this is that the floor price of the NFTs has pretty much remained constant, which is a sentiment to like, holy shit, like people got conviction.
I mean, I'm personally livid. I know we had the shared one in our F-35 wallet, and the fact that I can't retire tomorrow based on our allocation is, I mean, it's a failure on their part, I think. And I just, I think they need to be called out. The fact that I'm not a millionaire after owning one, unacceptable. I need to be living in Fiji right now with my one gopher. No, I mean, to see them 11 months down too, with from the original time we talked to them, you and TJ were bullish on them since the very beginning. I never got as excited. I thought they had a very creative and original idea. I just never really jumped on board as much. Just kind of waiting for these processes to be like, all right, let's see if they do pay. Not that I was doubtful, but just like to keep myself skeptical sometimes, to keep myself safe so I don't get too overexcited. But seeing that they actually paid out ADA, and it was just under 300,000, I think, or whatever the total amount they paid out, is pretty impressive, and like you said, even more so is that I think when we saw the amount, it was a little bit like, okay, that was a little, we weren't I hope everyone listening understands that my retirement there in the beginning was a joke. I think that was around what we were expecting, a little bit less than we had kind of estimated, but
yeah, we said 14. We said 14-ish ADA. We got, just so it's full transparent, we have a warrior, which is not the mining type. It is the dual type between the treasury and the mining. So it's like the middle ground between the two, and it's the base guy. We don't have we don't have an expert or anything like that. We had the very base one right here, and we've got 8.31 ADA over the last 3 months. Just put that in perspective. That is roughly less than 3 ADA per month, which most people were probably like, what the fuck? I paid 700 ADA, I paid 1,000 ADA, I paid 1,200 ADA, I paid 500 ADA, I minted for 369 ADA. When can I get my ROI? 11 years, 3 years, when am I getting this back? And I think that's probably been the biggest thing for them that they've had to combat. And to answer that, for sure, when people did, but my biggest thing with them is that if you threw money in this, did you actually research the mine paper in the beginning? Because if you did, you wouldn't, they're in the spreadsheets that people put together, you would have realized you're not going to make nearly as much as the NFT itself. You should have expected something close to this. And if you didn't, that's your own fault, first off. And if you did, and outside of that, the other part that are X factor to this is they sold a bunch of their Bitcoin old miners, the S19s or whatever they were, to upgrade to the S21s that they're going to be getting online. So over the last 3 months that these been compounding for rewards, most of the Bitcoin miners have been offline. So Absolutely. You're not getting nearly as much as you would have. So there's a lot of factors involved in this claim over here. But like you mentioned in the beginning, Tom, the ADA is paid out. It is there.
I also think, like, I agree. I think there's some people that are like, oh, damn, that's a sorry amount. Like, you actually bought these to get 6 ADA back. You know, well, first of all, it's going to be, you know, this is the first one. And like you said, they're still developing and getting those other miners back online. But I was more surprised and happy too at the same time to see, like, I think people on the outside are looking at this and being like, oh, what the fuck, 6 ADA. All right, I'm glad I don't have one. But I think what we've seen, at least from the floor price and the holders, is the people that have it are like, no, this is, like you said, like, they know what they got into. They know what they were expecting, and still are planning to stay in it for the long run. That's why the floor is staying where it's at. There's not anyone that's just kind of like, oh shit, I'm selling everything I had. That's not good enough. They still have the belief and trust in the project itself, and in the NFTs. You know, I think that they just believe that overall they have a good foundation. I mean, just seeing the other projects too that have on board now to kind of piggyback on that idea that they've had speaks for itself. And I think that the holders are like, nope, we're good. We're, you know, even though that may be a little less, or people are kind of using it, you know, it's the current discussion on Twitter as to say how terrible it was. Yeah, exactly. I think all the holders are like, no, we understood what we were getting into, and we're still in for the ride because we still have the faith.
Yeah. And the other thing to mention about this is, like, the interesting part about this NFTs in general is the escalation from the mint price to whatever your speculative price is, right? And I think, like we talked about last year at this price point, it was roughly 369, 367. I can't remember. I think I want to say it's 369 ADA for these things, maybe roughly 130 USD at the time. So if you bought at that price, you know, the expected rate of return on this, right, even if it was 8 ADA, you know, you're roughly about 2 to 3 years to return that one initial investment, which is typical when you look at an investment in general. Like, okay, I can get my return back in 2 to 3 years. Okay, not too bad. You know, it's not exactly where I'm at, but there's the appreciation factor too. Hey, this could go up a lot quicker. I can maybe make this back way faster. Great, no problem. The problem where I feel like a lot of the NFT space and where we get into the speculative space is where people buy this, and it's where we talked about hash power with Ryan when we originally got into him. He's like, yeah, you guys bought it at $130 to get X amount of hash power, but the people when secondary got it to where it was at, now you're at 525 ADA, you're basically paying double for that same hash rate. So in theory, you got the secondary market is
not as much value.
Yeah. And people don't understand that, because you think about the NFT value, like, hey, we have this fun NFT, the NFT value goes up because we just think the whole project's going to go up. In reality, they're a little bit more of a real kind of passive investment in a sense, where it's like, yes, there's gamification, there's actually a lot of layers to it, but just know that if you're purchasing on secondary, you're getting less than what that initial buyer initially purchased for. So when you expect if you're buying it on secondary as a thing to hold as a passive investment, just know you're getting it for about half the price of what the person paid for it. So you're, you know, keep that in mind when it comes to the ROI on this kind of stuff.
And especially also that too, I mean, because of the technology and just overall approach they've taken to kind of making utility for their NFT, that obviously, like you said, the original ones were in the 300s. You know, if you were one of those early minters, then you've definitely made profit already as well. So there's not just the return that's the only space for them to continue to build and bring value to the actual holders of the NFTs. That's just the kind of like main holding point, is to get those, you know, you're essentially a shareholder. You're getting your share, your allocation, your distribution of the share that was mined. But as they continue, you know, to build hype and grow and develop and get more miners online too, I think NFAFA, but you know, you'll still see those times where this ADA floor will jump, things like that, and people continue to make profits. I mean, there's people that made a lot of money already on the Gophers way before this first drop even happened.
That's true. And that comes back to like, hey, if I minted, you know, 40 of these, like whatever I did, it's a little lot of them back, because I knew that the most, if I wanted to, you know, that was my investment as far as the NFT, like having fun flipping it. But as far as what I wanted to hold, why do you think I went hard on trust? Because I said, hey, I got a better opportunity now to go ahead and do that. I did my math on the original stuff, and there's people that hold 50 of these Gophers that just got paid, 400 ADA for staking for 3 months. But when you take that 400 ADA into account, that was at a very minute amount of miners online at that time. And there's going to be a lot more of this stuff that will scale up over time as they get more of those brand new miners in. And looking at it long term, it makes sense. On top of that, they just so people know, this isn't the only payout. Like, this is only a portion of the payout. That's the mining. You've also got the treasury that will be coming online as well. So Ryan said, tomorrow or whatever it is, they're going to showcase how much is in the treasury wallet, which you've got now, the Kingdom Trust being pumped into that. So there's additional payout for that. And that tribesman that just minted out, where you've got these really high paying miners, 20% of the rewards that are mined from that are going to go back to the original holders too. So there's not only the mining, you've got the treasury and you've got tribe stuff as well. So all adding on to the original value to those gophers.
One, I love how he's going to show, where the treasury wallet's at. That's something we've always praised them for. So I just want to briefly mention, give them another pat on the back for their transparency through their project. But yeah, I mean, I guess it really comes down to what your goals are, what your beliefs are, even more so, where your convictions lie when it comes to ADA and Cardano and the crypto market as a whole. Because even as you start and accumulate those rewards, if you're just planning on holding this in the background and you believe, hey, even if you were there at the mint, you bought it for say $130 as we hopefully see Cardano grow, which I feel a lot of at least our listeners and community members are here for the longer run. They believe in Cardano as well. That as we see it grow, that that those returns, even if they may be smaller, will have higher values US dollar wise to start even finally catching up to that 130 and surpass it. So I guess it really just kind of depends on what your belief is for the space and where you think things are going. If you're just here for the quick flips or the quick returns, I don't think this was ever something they kind of even marketed like that. It was always very much this is the hold for the long term. This is a long time developing project.
Most NFTs are bullshit, and we've learned this over time, that it's all hype and speculation, right? You can make money on them for sure, but holding them long term typically tends to be a problem because most people are like, all right, they move on to the next thing. The thing doesn't ever produce anything like that. It's outside of that, or it never lives up to the hype. In this sense, it's like, hey, this is what it is. We've done everything we said it is. If you guys want to invest, do the research. You can calculate the money depending on how much we make, and you can decide if that's for you. And this isn't anything outside of that. Now, the miners themselves, that mining becomes even more profitable as time goes on. That's what they're betting on. The bear market's the best time to buy. That's what they've done. Congrats to them. And on top of this, they are the OG in this space that also now, for any future things that use their service, all the stuff that they've learned to manage, these base holders will continue to get paid out for that. So I think there's a big thing for that. Now, moving on from them, Derp. Derp was the first successful mint from their Kingdom Trust NFTs, which they were even talking to them about before Kingdom Trust was even a thing. And they're a prime example of 10,000 NFTs that went out and sold out, did very well. And they got in at a time even past Gophers that honestly is better than when Gophers got in, because of the amount of Bitcoin miners, the recent ones that they've received that are the new updated ones that are mining daily, that Gophers don't have. Most of those new S21 miners are being released in like little batches up until June of 2024 over here. So Derp's got some of the first ones online mining. And if you look at this over on their Gold Rush app, if you own an Outpost, you can see what all time they've raised so far. They've mined over $92,000 all time at the moment in that 3 months that they've been doing this. And you can kind of see what's been doing well. $92,000, not ADA, $92,000.
Why don't we have miners yet, Tommy? Why haven't we bought some of these first? F-35
I'm pretty sure we're going to start an F-35 project, which a lot of projects are just starting projects just because of this shit, right? Then they show the royalties since October. They've got over 263,000 ADA in royalties. And on top of that, the ecosystem has earned all fees that have been done inside their ecosystem over 3,500 ADA. So if you own a large outpost from them, you get all different kind of splits between these three things. Interestingly enough, the Outposts have started to kind of take a little run here. We saw the floor jump up. We say, Tom, 20%, something like that.
So yeah, over 7 days, I think, or something. Yeah.
So Outposts have become, people are like, you know what? These are starting to maybe potentially have something. Derp's got their miners online. The Bitcoin is doing well. These things all, in theory, in scale, will go up. You know, NFAFA over there on all that. And it shows the dashboard of who's doing, you know, how much they're mining a day, which is great. And then I've seen people are like, you know, you talk about the 8 ADA, or like, you know, I could just invest so much, that 200 ADA or 300 ADA that I spent, I would make so much more money off by just putting that in ADA. Great. Malau over here put out a good little post over here as far as the Derp birds are concerned, saying they see a lot of misinformation or ignorance around passive income tied to mining NFTs. If I stake 495 ADA, the cost of the Outpost, which, yeah, it was the initial mint price for those Outposts, for a whole year, he'd get 15 ADA, roughly, according to the current staking metrics. I've earned 222 ADA from 37 Outposts, 6 ADA per, and under 4 months. This doesn't even include the mining portion. That's just from the Derp rewards that they get, which you claim every epic that you can sell. So again, 37 out. So 6 per ADA right there. If you do that math right there, like you normally when you stake your ADA to your stake pool, it used to be about roughly 4.5% to 5% ADA that you get back per year. Now it's like more closer to like 3 to 3.5%. But yeah, you think about it like that. Hey, I could have just bought one of these things and let it do its thing. I'm earning Derp. And I just got to make sure I claim it every time I convert it and I sell it. Or I can hold on to it and maybe Derp goes up. We don't know. But there's one aspect of the Derp that was different from Gophers. On top of that, the mining NFTs, which are a little different too for them, they've also pay out. They did their first 90 days, which has happened right. They're about to end that. 90% of the funds they just raised, which is roughly what we just say, almost $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
92,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time they probably do that, they got about $100,000 extra. They're going to buy more miners to compound on top of what they've already built in this past 3 months. So that's going to scale up a little bit. And then after that, 50% of those profits go back to your Derp holders of Outposts. And they don't pay out every 3 months. They pay out every month, which is be interesting. And from there, that's why I think Outposts are getting a little more love right now, because they've got a pretty good hash rate and they're paying out every month versus 3 months.
It's very interesting to see how they kind of change things up, how they even changed the gamification, especially considering they were an existing project, so they didn't come out with the NFTs themselves to fit into like the mining scheme or the allocation and breakdown scheme, and really had to come out with the Outpost to kind of accomplish some of that. But it's exciting just because Derp is to see where they've come to from the beginning, and then to see how much they've raised here is pretty significant. I mean, that's, you know, $92,000 is no joke. And as they continue to do that, continue to grow, especially in the first 3 months, I want to get some miners here. That sounds pretty fucking awesome. But no, I mean, they did things very different in a very creative and cool way while still building on the original idea of Gophers, which I think is kind of pretty special, that they were able to kind of do something a little more creative, or not more creative, but just creative in a different way, that where it wasn't just like, hey, we're just going to copy it with their own name on it. I think they did a good job making it fit within their own story, their own universe, which really is on brand for Derp as well. And then, like you said too, we get to kind of watch along here where they have the 3 months for the Gophers, and now we're gonna have month to month with the Derps. So people will definitely be paying attention to kind of go, you know, apples to apples here and see which one's kind of providing those higher rewards, or where we really getting that the better return on.
Yeah, and Outposts was one of the ones where like Derp was an established IP. Before that, people were a big fan of that, and this was like an added-on layer, pretty much for them to be like, hey, we don't want to keep minting stuff for you guys because it's going to keep diluting our collection. On top of that, we keep asking you guys for money. How can we go ahead and find a sustainable model for us to continue to give us cash flow? Okay, we're going to do one mint. It's going to raise basically $1 million. With those $1 million, we're going to spend 90% of that on miners. With that, from there, we're going to compound that for 3 more months. We're going to buy more of those miners, and then from there on out, we're going to go ahead and start paying you guys out, rewards for being with us. On top of that, we're going to gamify it, not only with our ecosystem, with our lore. You're going to be able to upgrade, spend our token to get more rewards based on how much you spend. And then there's all these other outposts, which is unique to them, that potentially, that they want to say they bought a world mobile token NFT. So there's a potential for that to reward holders since they hold that now on their main wallet. There's all other things that they could do with this from other projects, other staking mechanisms. Mining could be one aspect of that, of those different outposts, right? You get more passive income from other things. We just don't know it yet. So that's the early buy-in. And on top of that, the art upgrades automatically, so you're having some fun with like just the overall like ecosystem and lore for them. There's so many layers to them that I love what they're doing right now.
Well, even just, if they start raising enough money on the back end, even if they want to start developing out the actual outposts themselves to make it more of a not gamified as far as the staking goes, but actually gaming elements. If they want to start having raids or some sort of Clash of Clans, just things to kind of, originally when it first came out, they really had some good features that really had people coming back to check in to make sure they were upgrading. But now that most people that paid attention are going to have their outposts upgraded to that full extent, so kind of even if they want to start developing more of those elements, make it so you can have raids or if I can send a raiding party to your outpost, Tommy, and your outpost has to defend it, and whether or not that even starts playing in necessarily to the overall staking. I mean, people play Clash of Clans all day, and it's not because they're getting returns as far as the staking goes. It's just because it's kind of fun to play. The strategy element.
Yeah.
Also, just if you can get something on mobile, things like that. The power of something being popular just because it kills time. Not that it necessarily devalues it or make it so it's not fun, but just that having that accessibility where it's like, hey, your game may be fun, but I'm not going to sit down on my couch in my house and play it. But hey, if I'm out at the bank or on the subway, absolutely, I would be happy to. I'd rather do something like that most of the time too than mindlessly scrolling something like Twitter or even if I'm not have something playing on YouTube or a podcast, if I'm just mindlessly scrolling shorts, I'd much rather get involved in something that has a community and a kind of game element to it, like this. So as I continue, I really like, my mind's going there because I really like how far ahead they look, with the way they're able to roll with the punches, kind of adapt and see where the space is going and get on board here with the Gophers. But then where they also look ahead and say, hey, we're going to hold that first 3 months, or that first period, that first quarter, so that we can even roll it back and invest in ourselves in itself and buy even more miners. So that, like you said, it just continues to compound and pay for itself. You're getting its true return on investment as far as the business side goes, to hopefully build a stronger foundation, instead of a quick cash out, and make the overall NFTs and outposts even better.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as we go on, more and more of these projects are going to want to cash in on this type of model, because it's profitable, because there's a sustainability there, as long as there's the initial investment. And moving on from that, we've had Goofy Gophers, which was the start. Kingdom Trust evolved. Derp did their own thing with their own IP. We saw a very big success story, and now we're seeing even more of these things kind of start to come out. House of Titans, we talked about them early on when they first got started. Mining become a bigger portion to their roadmap and a bigger portion to their project over here. And since then, and we haven't really followed too much, and forgive me for some of the research that we probably haven't done yet on these, but they are kind of going the route of Outpost after their initial PFP mint with these Strongholds, and they just announced this today. But it's also interesting too, because they're also a partner of the Goofy Gophers Kingdom Trust, which is going to go out part of that mass order here soon. So they're looking to mint 4,999 of these Strongholds at 350 ADA. I want to say that comes out to roughly 1.7 million ADA, roughly. When you calculated out that math, and so yeah, what's 1.717? You're looking at what, over $850,000, roughly, something like that, to go ahead and sell out.
1,000 real quick. Come on.
Yeah, right. They want that, and they want to go ahead and start this mint over on the 19th, which is coming up here on that's Monday.
Monday,
1600. Yeah. Yep. No whitelist over here. Smart, because I don't think this is an initial sellout in any type of situation. There's no like we need to be in on this early or the others are going to miss it. I don't think that's the case. They know that. They're realistic, and the mint's going to be open to the public. And it says they're already prefacing it like, hey, getting into mining is expensive, but it secures the future of our project. I think a lot of these projects are using the mining portion to be sustainable in the sense that we don't got to keep minting NFTs, but we can keep getting money because we're mining in bulk.
Well, it's a big challenge, especially if you have an idea that's going to take a few years to develop. Like, you're not going to have it out in the next 6 months where you're going to have the NFT blow up in its value to kind of get that return. Then, yeah, like you said, we've seen other projects do, or they have to continuously kind of release or even stagger their releases to kind of continue to generate revenue to keep their project alive. We've seen projects that die too, because they're just like, hey, we continue to work on it, but we ran out of money and there's nothing else we can do at this point. So instead of devaluing or diminishing the value of the current assets by releasing another 10,000 or something, this is a much more reasonable, viable option.
Right. And it's just the only other gripe I will say about this is that Outposts made sense because Derp was there for a while, right? Like, they weren't some brand new project. They had the IP, they had their community, and they made it fun in their own right. This to me is something where obviously they've taken some time into it. It's not like cookie cutter shit. They put a little time since they minted last year in that time frame. And they realized real quick, which I know Apex, shout out to them, to him. He knows, like we got to make a move here quick. And so they probably got started on this very fast once they realized, like, hey, Kingdom Trust is a thing. We need to go ahead and get a mint out to go ahead and put some miners in so we can go ahead and sustain our project. We need to get that going. Now artwork is done. They've got that already set to go, which, again, because they announced this today on the 14th, the mint's on the 19th, so 5 days. So they've already had this shit ready to go. Now they're announcing it to you, and you're like, okay, I get it. How deep down the rabbit hole do I want to get in these? I'm on pretty much Goofy Govers is the start. Third Bird's Outpost is like the secondary.
Another layer.
House of Titans is the other layer. Is another layer. I don't think they'll be as strong as Outpost, only because they've got a stronger community because they've been around longer. But Strongholds is an interesting one too, because if you want to gamble on the aspect of, hey, I can mint something and I can potentially get something rare, I can sell it for more. There's that aspect to it. There's also the aspect of, like, okay, Kingdom Trust is making, they're about to do a ridiculous order on Goofy Gophers. You don't know. So they've been Goofy Gophers has been compounding. Dirt Birds has been compounding. Tribes just minted, and now this is ready to go with a couple little projects underneath. They're looking to spend a few $1 million to go ahead and purchase miners, and the more that they spend, the more miners they get. So you think about it like that, you're like, fuck, okay, like, how much more power can we get if this sells out?
I am interested. Yeah, I guess I never thought of it from that level of, like, almost that purchasing into this would support your original Gophers on that end, because of the money going back into the Kingdom Trust. I will say, I mean, obviously, Stronghold, Outpost, we're kind of seeing some similarities, so it's easy to say, oh, they're just copying Goofy Gophers, when in a way Goofy Gophers really they're just copying Dirt Birds, the Outposts, and then, well, in a way the Outpost kind of bit off of the Goofy Gophers idea, but that's the point. It's not like they're going and buying their own land and everything like that. Yeah, they are buying their own miners, but it's through Goofy Gophers. That's the whole point of the Kingdom Trust, is to allow these projects to become almost financially independent in a way, to where they're able to generate their own money in the background. And I'm sure that Apex is going to have some portions of this that are not just going to be copy paste from the Dirt Birds Outposts. They're going to do their things to appropriately, hopefully, give back to their holders there, and also change things up a little bit, just because they don't have the same amount
Different
of NFTs,
projects.
same community. Everything, those portions of it, that's really what made the Outposts what they were. The fact that they were able to kind of do the different types and things like that. So these are just going to be, I'm sure Apex has the ideas down.
Yeah, and they list them out here. Strongholds, if you want to look at it from a surface level view, yeah, it's Outposts, right? But how I'm now not minting Outposts and Derpers. I'm backing House of Titans, and I'm backing your version of that, which is these Strongholds. But their way of doing it is say, okay, you're gonna get crypto mining rewards, you're gonna get whiskey barrel rewards, royalty rewards, and House of Titans PFP staking rewards. So they're giving you 4 different types of revenue stream potentially for investing in these. So we'll see. Everybody's got a different way to market this stuff. And the interesting part, which we talked about before the stream too here, is that I don't know that Goofy Gophers or Derps or any of them at the current moment are mining anything in Ergo. They're minting in Upland Strategy from H Society, big person over there, said, hey, he quote tweeted, said, look at, they're potentially minting, mining some stuff from Ergo. So maybe they did a little more research. Said, look, this is the blockchain we want to mine on, which is part of that creative control that you can get by investing in Kingdom Trust. You can mine some custom stuff and say, hey, look, I think Ergo is going to do way better than this combination of stuff. We're going to mine this exclusively. If it does well, it may hit. If it doesn't, you guys got fucked over by investing us.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely always a risk. I know, what is it? Litecoin, ETH, Bitcoin. But yeah, that's always, something that could happen, especially when it comes to, some of these other ones that we're not as familiar with, like Litecoin. I see the price, I see what it does, but as far as news on Litecoin itself, I would be very clueless when it comes to that. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to this is just to do your own research, definitely. But of course, we're going to kind of try and pivot a little bit, go for some other things. I am extremely curious to see how the mint goes. I agree. I do not see a 24-hour sellout, but at the same time, because of the way that it kind of compounds back into the original Gophers project, where it does support that. And yeah, well, they support that because it's building and putting money into the Kingdom Trust. And because of the following of just Gophers and Derps, and House of Titans, to be honest, as well, I almost could see it doing pretty well. I think this one, and they're not necessarily doing well as in, like, if you buy one, you're going to be able to flip it the next day for 10x. But I could just see that it's selling out a little faster than I would guess, just because of the support from those communities and the fact that they love their original project so much, that they may want to get back on. At 350 ADA, that's a bit pricey, but
it's pricey
with what we're seeing.
It's pricey, but they're going for the full fact that we want to buy as much miners as we can during this period before the halving to make the most money that we can. And we're going to try to give as much of that back to the community that we think we can give away. I just wish, Tom, that, and I don't wish, because we've talked about how, we can get into trouble here and how maybe we need to look into it a little bit more. Like, hey, we could build moon bases here for F-35, build rocket ships, and we could have bought into the kit. Hey, guys, buy our NFTs. We're going to invest in crypto miners in the Kingdom Trust, and this is exactly what they're doing.
Yep,
we can do that
100%. I just think that idea of being, not relying on always pumping out NFTs, or not relying on constant hype, which is just impossible almost to sustain outside of a few of the largest projects to keep those secondary sales going. And some projects just didn't have that initial capital as well. But I do also love seeing, like you said, that 350 ADA. That's one of the things I love when we see even the Derp side, because when you see those high asking prices, we see some other projects when it's like, wait a second, you guys are just a PFP, like that's it, and that's what you're asking for.
Good vibes only.
That's out of control. But when it's like, oh, this is directly going to purchase the miners, which is why I am interested in buying one in the first place, to get that return back. So the more miners for me, the better. I mean, you could argue, you got to find that balance, and obviously you can't just make the mint price 1500 ADA. But at the same time, the higher you do get it and find people to purchase it at that price, much more buying power when it comes to actually buying the minters themselves. So you definitely don't want it to be too leaky. This isn't gonna be a 15-minute, because that'd be a waste of everyone's time.
And agreed. Like there's a reason they're trying to do what they're doing to get that scale. So they're trying to raise almost 1.75 million ADA. That's a shitload of money. Shitload of money. But in the sense that this is going to keep their project sustainable without having to mint future collections. Also, they're going to go ahead and potentially, you know, they're gonna, assuming that they're going to follow the Goofy Gophers model, pay you guys back for whatever it is that you invest. And this isn't a 10x overnight. This isn't a 10x over 3 months. This is a steady return over months worth of time. And if you degen it in a 40 or 50 of these things per team, you guys may make back your mint price. My biggest thing with these I see as far as mining NFTs goes is like if I missed out on a mint, unless it's pretty close to the mint price, I probably shouldn't get in. Like as far as the secondary market, if I'm looking to flip.
When you put it in that context, when we were discussing it with the Gophers, it is definitely an argument. Kind of like it is a tougher argument to make to buy it on secondary, just because of that, how much your return continues to like, you know, get diminished. Yeah, exactly. So I can definitely see that. This is definitely one for the hold for a long play. It's not necessarily a flip and rip one, a flip and zip. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this goes. Monday too. I didn't realize it was that quick. My weeks have kind of been on, right? It's been kind of wild where I'm at, but I'm very interested to see. It'd be a little interesting too. I like their Stronghold art. Not better than the Outpost. I like the Outpost, but I like it better than their actual PFP collection. Yeah, I do like the art and kind of what they did with it. I kind of like the. I don't know what it is about it. It with the especially that image that they have so far for the previews and stuff with the pyramids and everything around. Just kind of their art style reminds me of something a little bit more like. I don't know what the word would be because it's I don't mean it in a negative way. Like a retro look almost, or like I don't know if you remember the games like Myst. From back in the day, like those kind of point and click adventures and stuff like that. That's kind of what it looked like something you'd play almost on like, you know, Windows 2000 or something. But I like it. I like how they've kind of executed it.
100%. It'd be interesting to see too, like you said, how the community responds to it. It did their initial community where they bought in on the investment of spending more money. And don't get me wrong, like if you're spending more money on it, they're like, hey, we minted this for X number amount. We're going to spend these amount for the next one. It's like, if you have a House of Titans thing, they're always going to prioritize utility back to that original one. I know they already mentioned that. I don't know the exact specifics of it, but House of Titans NFTs will still get a value for this. And we'll see what that does long-term. It's just a matter of like, hey, passively, I'd rather participate in this because I know that they're going to be minting it. It's a big thing in the future. If the NFT goes up, great, I can sell it. Cool. If it doesn't, whatever. But at least I'm still earning this stuff. And I think that's the big thing with Goofy Gophers. Is like people who have been invested with them, they've been almost a year and a half since they've seen any kind of return. Today they saw their return. Whether it's what they wanted or not, that's on them. But at least it's working, and they've got all these other projects that are now going underneath them. So I think if you're a Gopher holder and you're pissed off about the expense today, take a step back. There's more to come from that. And from there on out, who knows where things go, man. It's all a matter of speculation, but people who have conviction early on, the ones that hit are the ones that make money. And we'll see what happens to these.
I'm looking here. So the S21 Bitcoin miner, they're about, you know, $4 to $5 grand, it looks like.
Yeah.
So we could get, we got to figure this out. We get 35 of them.
We get 35 for $4 to $5 grand.
Oh no, that'd be $175,000. Yeah, $4,000 to $5,000 a piece, exactly.
So we need to raise about 300,000 ADA.
Yeah, exactly. It's about 300,000 ADA.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a limited edition 10 mint drop. And then
so we're gonna do 1,000 drop.
All those for 30,000
ADA. We're gonna do 1,000 ADA or 1,000 total supply reasonable. At 300 ADA. You guys can decide if you like it or not. We're going to partner up with Goofy Gophers. You guys are going to invest in us. We're going to fucking crush it for you guys and at least talk about it and try to pump it so that our bags go up. And then from there, you guys can choose to sell or continue just to do what we did originally.
I'll be curious to see too how the difference in the profits change, because I know we're getting into summertime. So when we get the heat, the hot, you know, the summer weather, You know, I definitely know the electricity costs can be a big portion and why mining is very difficult in a lot of places to be profitable. Like I think, like, you know, places like the UK and stuff, it's not even a possibility because of how expensive the electricity is. I remember that when we, you know, talked to Gophers last time. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see how that goes here as we get into the summer. But I can't imagine it dips too much. But damn. And also, yeah, I guess that's an update for TJ, right? TJ just learned that's our project now. TJ, there you go. I hope you're listening. You gotta keep up, man. This is your test.
Tap in over here. Did we bore you an hour and 15 minutes later over here? You thought we were just gonna do a quick 30-minute?
Damn. Did we really? Oh yeah, there it is, recording. Yeah, for sure. Damn.
There you go, man. You guys deal with this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you guys have made it this far. What are your thoughts on miners? What are your thoughts on investing in those as far as NFT projects? Are they all speculation? Are they just passive income that you guys can rely on? Or it's all just, yeah, I spent money, then maybe I'll make money, maybe I don't, maybe I don't care. We'll see. Let us know down below. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and I'm gonna wrap it up over here on the back end. So I covered most of what we wanted to, I think, tonight, right?
I was gonna say, I'm exhausted. Only two of us doing an hour and a half here. I mean, we can't. You know, I'm gonna need Monday off. I think actually, I'm calling out right now, boss.
We're gonna let TJ do a solo stream on Monday. I'm gonna let him handle the whole thing.
you got it, TJ. You ready? Yeah, you ready?
Thumbnail, schedule stream, tweets, Discord announcements. You do it all. We'll see what happens on Monday. Are you guys here or not? You let TJ know down in the description. If not, tell TJ. Peace.